Today's challenge was to see if I could take the 15 sheets left from the 6x6 paper pad and turn them into 3 two-page scrapbooking layouts. I did and managed to have some left over for cards, so let's see how I managed to make this happen. Hey, it's Beth. Welcome. This is the Smash Those Small Pads collaboration where a couple friends and myself each month we take a pad smaller than 12 by 12 and try to finish it off. This month I am going to try and finish off the Metropolitan Girl pad by Steve Duncan. It is partially used, so it is not a full pad. Not exactly sure how many sheets are left, but just kind of a quick flip through. And I am going to try and use this on some scrapbook pages. I have 3 sets of my photos here because I'm making one set. I think it's going to be double page layouts for everybody. So one set of double page layouts for myself and my 2 daughters. And I kind of went to Pinterest for some inspiration, and I found a couple of layouts that I think I can kind of somehow work together, or at least the elements work together into a 2-page layout. So there's this one with some vertical stripes, and I think that I can use the 6x6 and then somehow orient the photos around that. And then I really like this element on this one with the triangular pieces. So I'm not going to be able to do this particular layout with the photos I have, but I do want to work that element into my layouts somehow. So let's see what kind of magic we can work here. I mentioned that this is a collaboration. It's a small collab I do with my friend Sarah, who's crafting and relaxing over on YouTube, and Kathy, who is Stampin' Cat on Instagram. I will link them both in the description box below, but Sarah is taking this month off, I believe, so she will not necessarily have a small pads video, but Kathy will be over on Instagram with her small pad share. I will preface this with the fact that this was a challenge trying to figure out how to make the elements that I shared with you in my photo, or the pins, work together and with the amount of photos that I had. So this is not a tutorial, this is just a process video. I'm not sharing measurements of how I did, because you'll notice at the end how, as I worked through the 3 different layout, or the 3 different 2-page layouts, how I changed it. So I've, kind of adapted it each time, trying to figure out the best way. So this is purely a process video on how I'm taking these 15 sheets and turning them into scrapbook pages, and then it will be some cards at the end. So I am not trying to maximize how far I can stretch this paper. I am strictly trying to use it up. This pad was taken when I cleaned out my daughter's paper stash, because she doesn't really paper craft much anymore. I ran across this pad and there wasn't a lot left, and I kind of had this layout, or this photo event in my head that it might work for that. So I decided that I would keep it and try to use it. So it's not a pad that I would have ever chosen. It's not a pad that I love. It's just a pad that I'm trying to use. So that is why I'm not necessarily trying to stretch it and I use a ton of the paper on these layouts, and that is the point. So I could definitely have brought in cardstock and used less of the pattern paper on the layouts, but my goal was to use this up as quickly as I could. However, the layouts took me what seemed like forever, so it didn't go near as quick as I hoped, but still, I do finish off the pad. So hopefully this gives you some inspiration on how you can use 6x6 pads in your scrapbooking if you do scrapbooking, or at least kind of, it was an out of the box challenge for me, so that was good, kind of stretched my brain a little bit. So hopefully it at least shows you that you can do more with 6x6 pads than just cards. So with that being said, I am going to turn it over to some music and let you guys hopefully enjoy the process.
There were days where we thought we wouldn't make it out, but we stuck it out. Today's our day. Today's our day. There were nights we would fight, no end in sight, nothing was right. Tonight's our night. Tonight's our night. I'll fight for you until this life is over. There's no giving up here, babe. We'll make it out and fall in love tonight. Ain't nothing needed but us feeling right. Just take a chance, we got a wild ride. Wait and see, you and me, we were meant to be. We were meant to be. We were meant to be. There were times when we found it, fell back in love. The best still to come. Our time is now. Our time is now. I'll fight for you until this life is over. There's no giving up here, babe. We'll make it out and fall in love tonight. Ain't nothing needed but us feeling right. Just take a chance, we got a wild ride. Wait and see, you and me, we were meant to be. We were meant to be. We were meant to be. We were meant to be.
So here is that first 2-page layout that we made together. I didn't love how my little triangle things came out down here, so I did add my title. And then off camera, I did the other 2 layouts since that one was kind of took a while. So on these, we'll show you this one first. So I did something similar. I just made wider strips on this one so that I only had to do like 5 wider strips to cover that width. And then for the triangles this time, I tried them just like keeping all the same pattern together. This one I kind of messed up where the pieces went, so the stripes look kind of funky. So I did cover that up with my journaling, but other than that, I used the same title, brought in some more of those black rhinestones, which I almost used up that whole pack, so that was nice. And then just found some other random stickers in my stash or embellishments. This was from another Echo Park collection. So managed to get the second one, and then the third one I did a little bit different again. First, for these strips, I was just using the strips that I had left. So they kind of vary in width. I just was trying to use them as they were. This peach one, I did have to cut down a little bit to fit it in because I wanted to anchor it with the darker patterns on the outside. So that was what I did differently there. And then over here, instead of cutting them into triangles, I just put them as squares. So kind of like how that worked too. And then on some of these, I just kind of added like embellishment clusters in them. But used up some strips up here. One thing I did try to do was unify things with this black glitter cardstock that I had. So I kind of used that on all of the pages. It just kind of, because the colors of the papers tied in from both sides, but some of the patterns weren't. It worked out that this pattern was on both, but the patterns didn't always tie together. So I tried to tie it together with the black glitter paper. So managed to get 3 2-page layouts out of that. So I think I started with 15 sheets in the pad, 15 full sheets, and was not trying to maximize what I could get out of it, was just trying to use this up. So then I ended up with 6 cards. I had 2 of this design with the pretty little swans. And then I did 2 of this design, trying to use up some of the strips that I had left. And then this one. And then this was using just random, kind of created a little grid with some of the random pieces. And as you saw, I used up as much of the scraps as I could, either behind my little sentiments or by punching shapes. So I kind of got to the point where I was done. I didn't love this paper, but knew I could use it on those layouts, and so thought I would try and finish it off. So sometimes that makes a difference on how much I try to finish it off or how far I try and stretch it. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed seeing how I could finish off this pad using a couple different projects. Again, be sure to check out Sarah and Kathy. They will be linked in the description box below. As always, I thank you so very much for your time and hope you all have a very crafty day.